Jason Lee Podcast.
Welcome back for an all-new episode of the Jason Lee Podcast. Okay, let me just cut the applause short. First of all, what is going on in the world with Trump, ICE here in Los Angeles, the helicopters, the military? I mean, are we under military assault now by the federal government?
It feels like it, but I'm glad people like Karen Bass are standing up and saying, get out of my city.
In case you're living under a rock, here in Los Angeles, MAGA has taken Making America Great Again to a whole new level of making LA have a race war again. If you've missed it, Trump has sent over the troops and they are rounding up people going in hospitals, going in schools. This is what I've seen on the internet. Mayor Bass, as he mentioned, has been holding it down. And just the other day, she had to step up, get out her car, and get in the streets to tell them to leave. If you missed it, take a look.
I am going to say
Mayor Bass, I need to get my phone and we're departing.
Okay. All right. Mayor Bass.
Mayor Bass.
Oh my
Any
God.
comment, Mayor Bass?
Thank you.
Mayor Bass, any comment?
Yes, my comment is they need to leave, and they need to leave right now. They need to leave because this is unacceptable.
Who did you speak with?
Is it crazy that typically cities and states request the federal government to come in when there's a crisis, not it just unilaterally happen? Is this violating past practice, laws, rights, what, everything?
I feel like this administration is just like making their own playbook. They're not following the law. They're just doing whatever they want to do. And I think they're going to keep pushing that way until people either stand up and push back or people settle and go, there's nothing we can do. And then he can just take over and be a dictator. Like, that's really where it feels like we are.
Even here at work, we're really high up. We're 20-something floor? And I always, in the sky, I see stuff moving. I think it's a bird, but it's always helicopters.
Of
all
the military.
The time. Yeah, I'm always
All
thinking it's
day.
going to be the SWAT flying from the parachuting from the air. It's crazy here.
And to think martial law could happen. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but like we do have the most powerful military in the world that can go and take out any other country. They could also take us out. I mean, just not putting propaganda out there. Just, I hope everybody's paying attention. Well, listen, MAGA and Trump is creating a whole bunch of people out there that want to run for office and continue those policies. As you know, one thing I will say is Trump has changed the landscape of politics where people, every regular day people can run for office, win, and change their cities. You just got to make sure that you have the right people that do that because elections matter. In my case, you have somebody who's fighting for the people and fighting to create institutional change in Stockton, California. But there are other people like Anthony Constantino, who is a successful businessman like me, who's run for office and plans to run again. And he was inspired by Trump. And so I found it pretty interesting to see that somebody is willing to put their neck and their business on the line to run for office. And although he has his views and we don't agree on some things, I wanted to meet with him to understand why the controversy, why the cozying up to Trump, and what is it that makes him want to continue to push the Make America Great Again slogan. So he pulled up and this is what happened. Take a look. All right, Anthony Constantino, welcome. How are you?
Great.
So you're in LA. What brings you to the city besides, of course, us?
I mean, mainly just be here to talk to you today. So we took a trip I was actually in Mexico yesterday, flew up from Mexico, got here last night, and it's been nice so far.
Okay, so what I understand so far is you've made a lot of money. And when I say a lot of money, a lot of money, but from stickers, which is crazy because I've had stickers my whole life. They just have been either on a bumper or have been to cover something up. I haven't made any money from them. How did you make millions of dollars from stickers?
Well, it turns out I ended up building the largest privately owned printing company in the United States of America. Starting with stickers, and I think that was the first conversation I had with my co-founders. I think it was a sister-in-law at the time. She said, you're going to get rich doing stickers, and that was the plan. It ended up working out.
But nobody's going to believe you. People are going to think that we're scamming. So, like, for real.
Well, look how many, there's a lot of stickers in the world.
Right, but like, how does one, because I think that for me, I knew that I know how to talk to people. I know how to get to the heart of a story. I'm a storyteller. So I knew that telling stories was the thing that would make me successful.
Yeah.
I didn't know to what extent and how it was going to evolve. How do you go from, do you want to be involved with stickers to building a multi-million-dollar sticker company?
Yeah, I like stories too. There's a great story behind it. My co-founders actually was in his 70s when we started it. I talked to him and I was in manufacturing, he was in manufacturing, and I said to him, look, I got this idea to make an internet manufacturing company. He said to me, word for word, well, what the hell do people do on the internet? Because he had never used it before.
Right.
15 years ago, he'd never used it before. I said, can I show you? So I opened up the laptop. I showed him a website called Zazzle. It's still around. And he said, that's great. I'm going home. Called me the next morning. It was 9 a.m. He came and saw me. Had a notepad. And he said, Anthony, almost word for word again. He said, Anthony, I stayed up all night with a bottle of vodka. I drank the bottle and decided we got to start an internet company together.
Really?
That,
But then stickers. So then how did that get to stickers?
well, we didn't have any. Yeah, we just wanted to start an internet manufacturing company. Didn't know it was going to be stickers per se. We had like a few different product lines in mind. I'm not a sticker lover per se. You know, so people thought like maybe I had some childhood fascination with stickers or something. But I just wanted to do a manufacturing company. I'm from a small town where it was all manufacturing. I just saw manufacturing get beat up, and we moved so quickly. That's like one of the things. We just got used to moving quickly. So we said internet manufacturing company. I actually said to him, how about next year? And he said, no, Anthony, you showed me the internet last night. You're 5 years too late. We got to start right now. I'll cut you a check if you agree to do it today. I agreed to do it. We made a list of things you need to do. One of the things you need to do if you want an internet company is programmers. We went and hired programmers. They had a phone number on the website back then. I called. I said, I want to do an internet company. And they said, what do you want to sell? We actually said, we don't know. And they said, what's your budget? We said, we've never done anything on the internet before. We don't know that either.
So you were new to the whole world.
Yeah, totally new.
And so, because a lot of people that follow me knew my story, I started with $100 in Instagram and figured it out. Most people think they have to have $1 million to start a business. You started with, there was no money.
100 grand. My friend was put up 100 grand.
But 100 grand and no experience in
and in the internet. No, we got lucky. And so I called this guy. He said, what's your budget? And we said, look, we've never done a thing on the internet before. We hope you could tell us what we should expect to spend. And the guy said, pretty much, look, the internet's hot right now. I got a lot of weirdos calling me. You sound like a bunch of weirdos. I don't think I want to work with you. And he was about to hang up, and I said, well, we got $100,000. And he said, I'm in DC. Come see me next week. So went down to see him, and he said, I actually really like you. Would like to get going. Could you please decide what the hell you want to sell? So went home, thought about it for a day or two, decided to sell stickers. And to this guy's credit, he actually only charges 50 grand. So we got off the ground. We got the website launch, the business launch for 50 grand.
And then out of that, you've, over the last 10 years, have made millions.
Yeah, it's 9 figures now. So we never, it's privately owned. I'm the sole owner.
What happened to the older guy with the bottle of vodka?
He sold out to me. So
it's amazing.
He didn't think it was going to go 9 figures. Most people didn't. He thought it would do, 5 figures, some sort of 5-figure number. We ended up going 9 figures.
But while you're building it, did you think, it wasn't success overnight, so clearly it took a while. Or was it?
No, it was success overnight. It's first day, 20 orders, 30 orders. At the time we had a kid that designed it. He ended up being one of the best designers on the internet. And he had never designed a website before. He designed Sticker Mill, and the design community fell in love with it. So we took off, we went viral. Back then, people were looking for examples of nice looking websites. So we went viral right off the bat. And the first 2 years, our biggest issue was we couldn't get the orders out in time. And people said, you must love stickers. I said, haven't had time to make one for myself. I don't think we made a sticker for my company called Sticker Mill until year 3.
Okay, when I walked in, I saw the red hat, and I thought, definitely thought you were going to have a Make America Great Again. Because I know you had the controversy in doing something with Trump.
We had a little bit of controversy there. That came later. That came much later.
So did you build stickers for Trump, or you built stickers out of the drama with Trump?
No. So I was one of the first people canceled in 2016. I wasn't political. Really, I wasn't a political person. I just wanted to build a business. So I started a business 15 years ago, blows up quickly. We end up being 300-400 people pretty quickly. We're, I don't know, what is it now? 2016, a guy named Donald Trump announces he's going to run for president. I didn't know a thing about him. Didn't watch The Apprentice. I actually had an issue with people that...
Wait, so you didn't know anything about Trump? Because Trump in 2016, he was popular.
Yeah.
With a lot of people before we all knew his political views. Trump, people, I watched The Apprentice, people like Trump. I think once he got in office and whatever, people felt a certain way. But when he ran, you didn't know anything about him?
I went the other way. Believe it or not, I think one of my first trips to New York City, because I grew up upstate, and one of my first trips to New York City, I was walking around, and I actually saw him walking down the street with his coworkers or co-executives, whatever. He had his trench coat on. He looked sharp. But I saw him in the street once, but I didn't watch The Apprentice, and I had a personal rule that, and hopefully I don't get in trouble for saying this, but I had a personal rule that I didn't like people that named their companies after themselves. So I heard Trump organization. I said, it's a little bit too egotistical for me.
Wait, the Jason Lee show.
Well, it's a little different.
Anyway,
it's a little different.
Ahead.
It's a little different. It's a show. It's
not a shot.
It's different.
Go ahead.
You got to name a show.
Go ahead.
All right, that's not that. It's a little different. But I didn't follow him. No, until he started running for president, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I decided to give him $500. I actually did it by buying Donald Trump Christmas ornaments, MAGA hat Christmas ornaments.
Okay.
And I wrote 1 or 2 tweets about him that were sort of nice, and that's not something you were allowed to do back then. So I woke up to my company getting canceled. I was one of the first people canceled in 2016 while he was still a candidate.
The sticker company?
Yeah, my sticker company.
Wait, and so what impact did you see from the blowback?
Just trauma, emotional trauma. Really, you nobody knew what the word cancellation was back then. I was literally one of the first people canceled because it didn't exist yet. He was still a candidate, and so we woke up to tens of thousands of people telling us they hate us, they're going to destroy our business, we're going to lose everything. And I had been building the company, and I was proud of the company, and I had 400 or 500 people. And I said, "Geez, what am I going to do? What if I really do lose the business?" And the company was traumatized. It was nothing but hearing great things until then, and all of a sudden, 10,000 people all at once for a number of days telling you they hate you is not a pleasant experience.
Did you understand at the time why people hated you? Or was it just a shock to you?
Well, I think I understood it, and that's why I liked them. There was a lot of they used the word misinformation, but there was a lot of misinformation. I later on ended up being involved in politics myself, but I viewed it as the system was rebelling against an outsider trying to get in, and so there was an interest, in the outsider, in the existing establishment, creating a narrative that he was some sort of demon that a lot of people believed.
What do you think now?
I think nobody's perfect in life, and I think he's a good president. I think he won again. I knew he was going to win again. I ended up backing him.
You think he's a good president right now?
Yeah, I think he's well-intentioned. Nobody's perfect, but I think he's well-intentioned. And one thing I tell people now that I'm in politics myself is I like people. People say you don't want money in politics, but people that have money or careers outside of politics, like yourself, we have more freedom to do what we think is right. So for better or worse, is you get a person like a Donald Trump that has a career and success outside of politics, or Jason Lee or Anthony Constantino, we get to work on the basis of what we think is right. And a lot of politicians don't get to do that.
Yeah, good answer. I mean, I don't want to turn this into a political conversation.
Sure.
What I will say is that, my viewers who are watching, we've had Candace Owens on my show. We've had Robert Kennedy Jr. here. I'm sure Trump is somewhere watching in his bunker. Hey. But ultimately, when you are an entrepreneur and you do depend on the consumer market to invest in your business, politics makes people take sides. Did you notice, or did you think then that by buying a gift or somehow supporting, or even coming out in encouraging other people to support, did you think that would be bad for business? Or
no, the gift I thought was a private thing, but it's public record because it's a campus. So,
and people found it.
And it would get recorded as a $500 donation, but it really was just funny gifts I was giving to people for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I actually made some great friends off of it. I gave some gifts out to people. And I made some great, to my neighbors, my mom's neighbors in Florida, and they're some of my best friends now. But over that, so I got some great friends off of it, but I also got canceled. The tweets, you don't think if you write one or two tame tweets, you're going to get canceled. It was new, so nobody knew what it was back then. So, I didn't think I went overboard, but, I did not expect that. So it caught us off guard, and it was an interesting experience, and ended up making us a little tougher, me a little tougher.
In what way?
Well, most people have never experienced that before, so it's traumatic for the average person. People that are like in the celebrity world are used to something similar to cancellation, and whether it's whatever it is, drama, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But for an average citizen that's never been in the spotlight before, cancellation's a traumatic experience.
And so Trump supported you, or liked that you supported him?
I don't think he even knew that we existed back then. Whether he knew, I don't think he even knew about that in 2016. And we ended up getting canceled, I think, 5 times. Since then, I got canceled in 2018, a number of other times, and so we got canceled in 2018 because I gave away free Christmas presents. We were the #1 trending topic on Twitter, Christmas 2018.
But some people like to get canceled because it's a part of their marketing plan. I mean, for me at Hollywood Unlocked, when I was in the rise of it all, I loved going viral, and I was going viral all the time. Now I'm at a point in my career and life where I go viral when I don't want to, but I don't try to go viral like I used to. Is it something that was a part of your marketing plan? Because it's free marketing.
No, it doesn't grow sales. Viral cancellations are not an effective business. Right? Social media in general doesn't do much for your business. It's good, politically, as an influencer, as somebody that's trying to get their name out. All publicity, for the most part, tends to help you. So, cancellation is a little different when you're in a political space.
So now that you're into politics, now that you got into politics, what was the thing that motivated you to go from entrepreneur, where you have a lot of free reign and a lot of freedom to be and do whatever you want and think however you want, to now under a lens in the political space, where people know that your decisions impact their lives?
Yeah, I didn't know that was going to happen. That kind of came out of nowhere. And so, what happened was we had, time goes by, President Trump, exit the White House nicely. He's planning on entering again. And, you know, I'm watching the campaign, and I happened to be in Mexico at the time when this, you know, historic moment happened where he got shot in Butler.
Did he get shot?
Something hit his ear, you know, and so something happened in Butler. Something hit his ear. Another person did get shot.
So wait, let me be clear
Another
that I
person did
understand
get
what's
shot.
happening. So your political aspirations were motivated by Trump.
No, what happened is I didn't
my
have.
audience ain't
No,
gonna
I
eat
didn't have.
that up.
No, I didn't have political aspirations. So
Okay.
no, what happened is I built a great company. I actually, you know, I was running my company just for fun. I actually got in. I know I guess she mentioned you're friends with Floyd. I got involved in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I went pro in boxing at age 40. I'm 42 now, and so I love boxing. I was a 2-1 pro boxer at the time. I was going to box again. Was training. And I had a fight coming up, and I said I got to go to the mall to get a haircut for my fight because you got to look decent for your fight. So I'm about to get a haircut. My friend calls me, who's also a fighter, MMA fighter, and he says, you know, they just shot the president. I said, is this true? And I look and see, and I say, you know, I'm just gonna write. I just decided to write something. So I write sort of an endorsement, but really just a call for civility. I just said, look, I know people on both sides. People on both sides work in my company. We all get along. This like extreme hatred, you know, that's leading to violence needs to stop. Like we should calm tensions. People in my company get along, and I think the world should be able to get along too. We shouldn't have extreme hatred for each other. So I write this and, you know, show it to some people. I said, what do you think? And believe it or not, the more left-leaning friends of mine were more encouraged. The MAGA people that I know were like, don't send that. Your life's going to change completely. Your company's going to get annihilated. And, you know, some of the more left-leaning people said, that's a thoughtful letter. I think
Why did the MAGA people think that your company would get annihilated? Because it would look as if you were softening your support of Donald Trump, or?
Well, I wasn't known that aggressively as a Trump person at the time. You know, I did get canceled, but even cancellation doesn't get out to the whole world. You know, it's like, so, you know, people knew, but it wasn't like the whole world knew, right? So he's like, if you go out and you do a bigger endorsement, it's you know, it's gonna all hell's gonna, you know, rain down upon you. And so, you know, they ended up being right, you know, but I ended up posting it, went viral, immediately went viral on X, and ended up just going. It was a week of just people nonstop talking. Ended up getting in the Wall Street Journal, Boston Globe, and a number of other places. And so this endorsement goes super viral. Everybody talks about it.
When you say endorsement of what?
Oh, I just said I like Trump. But I got friends on both sides. I got people on both sides of my company. We all get along, and the hate needs to stop. So it was pretty mild endorsement. I said, look, I'm going to be honest and say I like him. I haven't really said it previously, but I'm just going to be honest and say it. And so I told everybody. We ended up emailing it as well. I had 5 million customers at the time. We emailed it out to everybody, and yeah, when it exploded, and the inbound hate exploded as well. And I said at the time,
Do you understand why the inbound hate is coming in when you put out something about somebody like Trump?
Well, I think there's, you know, I have my own theory on why that happens. My theory is the establishment, which is really both sides, right? The existing government has a strong incentive to reject an outsider, and they have a massive budget and massive marketing resources, and they spent all those resources and energy trying to inject thoughts that maybe aren't so true in people's brains, you know, and so people fell for a lot of things that weren't true, and that riled up the hate because they wanted to block out not just President Trump, but they wanted to destroy an outsider and prove to the world that outsiders can't get into their club so that future outsiders wouldn't try as well. My theory was if President Trump gets in and is successful, you're going to see other people coming in that would have never thought to be in politics that are being successful too. And, you know, I don't want to give anyone credit that's maybe on the other side, but I think without President Trump, you wouldn't even have an AOC per se, because I think she saw what he did and maybe got inspired by it. And so,
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know that AOC got inspired by Trump. I will say, having ran for office myself successfully and won and helped 3 other people get elected, it definitely has changed the landscape of politics, where people are looked at as who they are and people versus politicians first. And, you know, he can get some credit for that. But what I will say is, you know, most people that know my stance on Trump, he told everybody who he was. He told everybody what he was going to do. So I'm not mad at him. I definitely disappointed him in the voters because I'm not a Trump supporter at all, and people know that. But this is why. When you look at somebody like us that are entrepreneurs that are successful, we're not impacted for the most part by Trump policies, but all the people that support our businesses are, right?
Sure.
So like I'm in the business of making money. I'm in the business of a build to sell brand. I'm sure you're going to build to sell at some point. You're going to have an exit, right?
it's not really in the plans for me. You know, we'll see what happens. You know.
So you want to keep your business forever?
I mean, that's the plan. I mean, my team gets along really well. We all like each other, and as soon as you sell, things change for them. So, I want to, I'm a very loyal person, and I don't think my team would like me to sell. And so, yeah, I don't know. We got to see what happens. It is tough to transition businesses generationally. That's a tough thing to do. So,
well, especially if you're the visionary of it all too.
Yeah.
But but to the politics of it, when you decide to enter into it, or you do this massive announcement of supporting Trump when he got shot allegedly, and all of that, when you put out the announcement and then you get all the feedback, when you go through several experiences of being canceled, at some point, do you say, I'm going to keep doing this because it's good for business, or is it just accidental? Because at some point, after you go viral once, you kind of know what's going to hit the internet and make the internet
was
move.
Not good for business. It's not good for business. But, the number one critique of, often the Democrat Party, of people with money is that all they care about is making money. So here I did something where I sacrificed money to do something I thought was right. I said there's a problem with irrational hatred. And by admitting, people liked me, people that meet me seem to think I'm a nice person. And I said, by letting people know that I like them, maybe it's going to let people relax a little, and maybe even help people that don't like Trump realize that even if you don't like him, you don't have to fear his haters. Some haters are people like me, and I wanted to encourage other nice people to come out and say it. Look, Henry Cejudo came out. He came to my some of my events. I got to meet him. There's a lot of nice people that support the president, Jorge Masvidal. I got to know through all this. I got to meet a lot of very kind-hearted Trump supporters, and I wanted to just calm tensions in the country and make it more about debating issues than having this visceral hatred.
And then you decide, I'm going to run.
Well, no, that is not what happened. It was a little more complicated than that. So I just wanted to, I like solving problems. Like I said, the number one critique of business people is, they're just so focused on the money. I said, well, I'm going to not focus on the money. I'm just going to do what I think's right. I'd send this endorsement out and then say, once I'm involved in something, I have to use my creativity. So I said, what else could I do to fix this problem of people being scared to admit they like him? Because since people were scared to admit they like him, the people that hated him and his supporters didn't really know who was a representative Trump supporter. So what else could I do? So I ended up saying, I'm going to put a giant sign on top of my building called the Vote for Trump sign. So I put Vote for Trump on top of my factory building. I don't know if you saw this or not, but it was visible from the New York State Thruway. And that turned into a bigger story than the endorsement. The endorsement was a little story.
But that's what I'm trying to get at. What is the purpose of continuously...
Yeah, why do that?
No, but I'm saying, what is the purpose of continuously publicly supporting Trump? And even in this conversation where we're here to talk about you, now we're going all the way into Trump.
Well, we're going through the story of how I got to where I got.
Right, but I get it. So the voting for Trump sign, I get it. So
that'll get to where I got.
The emailer, let me just show you if I can get this right. The emailer of don't kill, don't shoot, let's bring peace.
Let's debate civilly, let's get along, we can get along.
I support Trump.
Yeah.
Kind of started the viral thing.
I support Trump. You may not, but there's no reason to.
But now we have a full-fledged bulletin.
Right now, vote for Trump, right? And on top of my building, because I'm in a blue state where you're not supposed to say that thing. And I wanted to give people courage, because my theory was there's a lot of kind-hearted people out there that like them, but people, on the left, or Trump haters per se, didn't know that. So they're like, I hate all Trump supporters. But I go, you don't even know who we are. You don't know. The people didn't know. If you met a Henry Cejudo, you'd go, this guy's one of the nicest people. He's super nice. One of the nicest guys I've ever met. So you want to put a new face to people who support Trump are not all of what people are saying. Exactly. You don't have to hate us. We're nice people. We don't have any issue with you. If you don't like him, we could still be friends. There's no issue with that. Let's debate issues. Let's get back to debating issues instead of debating other things. So I was trying to solve a problem. I like solving problems. And I just said, look, I have my money. I don't have investors. If you have investors, one of the problems in business, and if you have investors, is you have a mandate to grow your business. I don't have that mandate. I could do whatever I wanted to do. And so I said, look, selling stickers is not the most important thing in the world. I mean, whether I sell a few more stickers doesn't change the world. But if I can make people feel more comfortable expressing themselves politically, it's that's a much more important mandate than. So that was the thought behind it. I realized I thought I could be helpful. President Trump got a massive win in New York State, whether that was because of my sign or not. I ended up getting to say, look, I had the most viral sign in probably all political history, the most influential sign in political history. Immediately, the Democrats tried to throw me in jail over the sign. I put it up. It only took them a day to try to throw me in jail over it.
What did they throw you in jail for?
Yeah, they said it was a threat to public safety, and I had to take it down immediately because
you were distracting people driving or something.
Exactly, and I said people know how to drive cars. We got beautiful signs all over New York City, and nobody has an issue.
Well, New Yorkers don't know how to drive at all.
So yeah, they tried to throw me in jail. They said it's a public safety hazard, and so my lawyer said, look, if for some reason somebody gets into an accident because of your sign, they're going to pin it all on you. So we had to go to court and fight that restraining order, and we ended up getting the restraining order overturned.
Okay, so then you left to sign up.
Left to sign up. So I throw this big party. I think 5,000 people show up to see it, and we didn't know if I could light it that day, if I could show it off that day, because I was still under threat of arrest. The cops were on standby to arrest me, and the day was going on and on and on. I was waiting to hear back from my lawyers, and then around 5 o'clock, they finally got the restraining order overturned, and I got to show the sign off, and it's media explosion. The president's very happy. He sends me a nice thank you. The New York Times actually wrote a nice article about Trump because of the sign. They even seemed to like the sign, or they seemed to like what I was doing. So they wrote a nice article, and yeah, next thing I know, my status in the political world got elevated a little. Still, I'm not planning to be a politician. I didn't really know what was going to happen.
I mean, at the time, were you a Republican or a Democrat, or neither?
Ironically, and I get in trouble for this. Ironically, I'm probably lifelong conservative. I liked a guy named Milton Friedman in college. I became a big fan of his. Probably a lifelong conservative, but I registered as a Democrat to support a friend. So ironically, I'm a registered Democrat at this time. And so, yeah, I'm ironically a registered Democrat putting this up because I had a high school friend of mine that ran for mayor, and I wanted to support him. So I registered as a Democrat to support my friend some years ago.
But you were like a hidden conservative.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I said in my speech, I said, look, I'm a Democrat and I support President Trump, and so then I ended up. But
not really though. You weren't really.
Ideologically, probably not. But technically, and the Republican Party ended up getting very mad at me over this because then I ended up running as a Republican. They go, this guy was a Democrat 2 weeks ago. Well,
yeah, I mean, Trump bashed Republicans back in the day,
and I did too.
I mean, maybe he was. I don't know. Maybe that's when he was getting engaged to an immigrant. He had different views. I don't know. Okay, so now you're. I wonder if Melania is going to have to get on a boat and go home. Now that all the immigrants got to leave our country. When you look at the politics today, though, what in his policies do you align with? Because you have different workers that I'm sure are different races, that have different families, that come from different countries. New York is a melting pot of diversity. So, like, when you look at your staff, the people that you say you don't want to sell your company because you want to stay loyal to, when you look at them and know the influence your companies having on their ability to take care of their family, and then you look at the Trump policies, do you see any conflict in that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of an expert on immigration, probably more so than most people in the United States of America. I actually lived 6 years in Mexico. I boxed in Mexico. My team comes from all different multicultural backgrounds. My company's actually spread out all over the world. I got employees in 38 countries, and I speak Spanish more than I speak English, so I speak a lot of Spanish. I got a lot of Spanish-speaking friends. And so I understand the issue better than anybody, and I tend to agree with the president on the issue, as does probably the majority of the South American world.
The question isn't where do you support Trump? Because you've said that a few times. My question is, going back, I'm going to say it again. You have a company that has, from what you're saying, a diverse group of people in 38 countries. When you say you speak Spanish too, it's sort of like when people say I got black friends, I'd be like, stop playing with me. And my mom's white, so let me be clear. I see it both sides. When you, and I'm not, and let me be very clear, I am a registered Democrat, but I'm very much a blue dog Democrat because I am also somebody that makes a lot of money. And, when you make a lot of money in the tax bracket,
some things you got to think about.
Some things you got to think about. So I get you, right? But what I'm trying to understand is Trump 2016 was whatever he was. Now in 2025, we've seen a lot.
Sure.
And there's a lot going on right now. So I'm trying to understand, like,
what do I like? I like the immigration. We do have to have secure borders. Immigration's been a disaster for South America. People don't understand this. So I did my entire boxing career in Mexico. I learned to box in Spanish. In fact, I started boxing without speaking Spanish, but I haven't done any boxing in English. I've never fought in an American venue. And so it's not like, you say, I got one guy that's a friend from a different race. It's like, I've been in Mexico and for quite a while, and I'm deeply integrated into that community, and I know a lot of people. Mexico got ravished by our open borders policy as well, because all of South America came up through Mexico. Some of them passed through when they came into America. Some of them came here. But the one thing I think is not understood by Republicans or Democrats in the United States is when people leave their home country to come to America, it's not the whole family. The majority of people don't want to leave their home country. And so what we're doing is ripping apart families, because I've seen it over and over and over again. People are in South America and they get the idea in their mind to come into America because the borders are open.
Well, I mean, I have a lot of friends that look like you that get on planes from Canada too and don't want to go home. So like immigration, there's Africans that are here. There's people from Canada that are here. There's a lot of white Europeans who don't want to go back to Europe, who overstay their welcome. Immigration is, as you know, much more complex than the little Mexican,
it's very complicated.
Than the little Mexican that crossed the border. But that's
what I want to point out is the grandmas and grandpas don't want to come here. Generally, you got families where one family member wants to come, the other ones don't want to come. And that person, when they come, they ask for asylum, and they generally were getting it. And then that person leaves and separates from their family forever. So people talk about family separation. We've separated millions of families. Many of the immigrants that came here, when they get asylum, they don't get to go on a plane and ever go back to South America or to go back to Mexico. They stay here stuck, separated and severed from their family forever. And it's not been a good thing. Some of them come and they regret it, but because they made the investment to get here, they don't know how to get, they don't know how to get back. They don't want to give up the asylum once they got it. And so, in my view, it's been very cruel what Open Borders has done to Central and South America. And that's why you see many people in Central and South America support people that think more like President Trump.
And so you decide, I'm gonna put my name in the hat and you run.
No, it gets a little more. So I put up the vote for Trump sign. Don't really know what's going to happen. He ends up winning, which I kind of thought was going to happen, but you never know. But, I ended up calling it sort of correctly because he ends up winning. He wins a day after he wins. A guy named Roger Stone, who was President Trump's longest serving advisor. Some people know the name.
He went to prison.
He almost did, or did he go?
He went to prison.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting story as well. I know. I got to know.
I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, right. We'll leave that one go. But anyways, he reaches out and he says, "Would you like to get dinner?" I said, "Sure." I wouldn't mind getting dinner. Just I like meeting people. I go down to Florida to get dinner with them. On the way to Florida, they tell me that the congresswoman that represents my district is going to be in the cabinet, and the seat's going to be vacant. And people start saying, "You should run. You should run." I said, "I don't even know what that means. Run for what? Run for Congress. What does that mean?" And people started explaining it to me. So I go see Roger. We're having dinner. There's like 6 or 7 people at dinner I've never met before. And in the middle of dinner, I said, "Roger, these people want me to run for Congress. What do you think?" And he said, "I think it's a great idea. You'd have my full support." And then the dinner continues. It goes for 2 hours. It ends, and he says, "Look, come over to my house. Let's talk." We end up hanging out the whole week. We go to Mar-a-Lago, and where I had a membership, actually, that I never used. And I used it for the first time. We go to Mar-a-Lago, and I decided to run. And so had no idea this was happening.
But is all this happening? Because I feel like, and again, I don't want this to turn into a thing.
Sure.
I ran because I gave a fuck about the people in my neighborhood. Yeah. I cared about my family. I cared about the people and the issue. It's nonpartisan seat. It's not a Democrat, Republican thing and whatever, right? So I don't bring that into it. But I feel like in this story, it's almost like there's a lot of cozying up to Trump because in some way, I think when it comes to MAGA people or when it comes to that community, and I understand it because his personality and his success and his power and all that, like it's almost like it's like a symbol of something to get next to that. When you have money like you, when you have money like me, and when you have relationships and you have an image or you have a platform, it like draws people to it. Do you feel like that's been the influence?
No, because I could have easily got next to him. I was a Mar-a-Lago member for the last 4 years and I never went. And so people told me all the time, especially after the 2020 election when he vacated the White House, people said, "Why don't you go to Mar-a-Lago? You could hang out with Trump. He's there just hanging out." Mm-hmm. And, nobody knew what was going to happen. So the support for him declined. And I had a Mar-a-Lago membership I never used. And so, the goal wasn't getting next to Trump. President Trump isn't going to be around. He's not going to be president forever. In fact, people say he's a dictator.
Well,
I say, how's he going to be a dictator? He can't, he can't be president forever.
I mean, he did unveil the Trump 2028 sign. Is he a comedian now? I mean, come on.
He's always been a comedian, but he's always been a comedian.
I laugh at him every time I see him.
He's always, no, it was not. It was not that. It was probably similar to what, it was very similar to what you were saying. In fact, my MAGA friends, once again, are telling me, "Look, you got a great company, you're making all this money, life's great. Why do you want to put yourself through hell and do this?" And I said, if people like me don't do it, who's going to do it, right? I said, you guys sit on the sidelines and you get frustrated and you say, our government sucks. Our government sucks. And I said, okay, our government sucks. You're going to complain all the time. And then when I say I want to get in help, you're going to tell me just continue making money. I said, look, I'm 42 years old. I've made plenty of money. I've been financially set for, I don't know, last 7-8 years. It's not that exciting to just infinitely make more money. I mean, I'm not Elon level or Bezos level, but I'm not bad. So it's just like, it's not that exciting. I said, people that are true believers, I saw some people in politics, I call them true believers, and some people are just there for the money, really, in the political world. But, the people that are true believers, you guys get upset all the time that people in government aren't good. Who's going to fix it in New York if not me?
And so you ran.
And so, I decided to run. I said, well, geez, I got the president's longest standing advisor in my corner. That's a pretty interesting sign, Roger.
The criminal. Go ahead.
I told Roger, I'll say
Roger, you know you emailed me. I ain't responding to that email. Go ahead.
I'll get him on the show if you want.
No,
I tell Roger all the time.
Roger,
You would
I
like
don't.
Roger.
I grew up around criminals. I ain't trying to deal with it. Roger, stay over there. I'm glad you out there.
You would love Roger. No,
I would not. Go ahead. I mean, Roger talks his shit. I mean, you know, but all of them do. All of us who are different than traditional politicians. Because I will say, look, the Republicans, they got it. The old playbook of doing politics as a buttoned-up politician, those days are over, right? Like, people are tired of it. I'm tired of it. You're tired of it. Everybody's tired of it. So I get that.
Yeah.
And I understand the relatability of the Republican Party to people right now because they out there talking their shit, whereas Democrats are trying to create an image of prestige and regular people, it's not relatable. I get it. Roger, don't email me.
I just say this like really, you know, I tell Roger all the time because I've gotten to know him pretty good through this whole experience. I said, Roger, I said, I'm going to destroy your reputation because I'm going to tell everybody that you're actually a nice person. So everybody thinks Roger's mean and tough, but Roger's Roger's one of the nicest people I met in the political world.
The devil was an angel. All right, so now you run for political office.
I run, and you know, next thing I run and I say, look, I love Mike Tyson. I'm, you know, like Mike Tyson's. I don't have many heroes in life, right? Mike Tyson, Donald Trump. And I don't know. I'm not gonna say the other one. There's like maybe one or two more. Yeah. So I go watch Mike Tyson box, and I go to Texas to watch him box the other guy that got, you know, whatever he does. And I'm outside the arena. I get a phone call. I take up the phone call, and this guy's you know, political power broker in New York State. He's ranting and raving like a lunatic. So I start recording the call, and he starts, I'm the head of the conservative party in New York State, and he said, we intend to kill you. We intend to destroy you. He starts ranting and raving and telling me he's going to kill me. He's going to destroy me.
He was serious.
I never cold called a person in my life and said I'm going to kill. In fact, I've never told anyone that in my life. He starts ranting and raving. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to destroy you. You think you're smarter than us. You think you're better than us. This is a strange phone call. In fact, I stay very polite. You know, you get caught off guard. You're like, what is this? Right. Like, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. You know, I'm new to this world. Appreciate the feedback. You know, I had that sort of call. That was me. I really ended up releasing the whole call. Didn't know what I was going to do, but, you know, I record it, hang up the call. My advisor right away goes, you know, that's a historic phone call. I said, you think? He goes, yeah, the guy just threatened to kill you. I said, he's like, you're 1 week in politics. He goes, people would love to know that this is what the swamp, right? The establishment is like. This is 1 week in politics. I put up the vote for Trump sign here. I think I am this guy that did so much to help the president. And somebody on my own team is calling me saying, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to destroy you. You think you're smarter than me. You're nothing without us. That was another line. And so I didn't know what to do. I run the race, and you know, I like similar to the president. I saw there's a lot of wrong things in the political world on both sides. Really, both of the parties got problems with something called corruption, and so.
Well, Elon wants to start a new party.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he does with that too, right? We'll have to see what happens with that.
Yeah, Elon, don't email me. Not that he ever has. I did meet Elon.
He's off the list too.
I met Elon. I mean, listen. I mean, he's a successful entrepreneur. I mean, when he turned on Trump, like most of these people all do, I went on Twitter or X that he bought, and I said, is he a martyr or is he a Judas? I don't know what he is. I just know he out of there. And now he's releasing Epstein's list, or at least wants it to, because he said Papa Trump is on there. I don't know. Epstein's dead. Elon is out, and you lost.
Did I lose? Well, no. What happened is, in a way, I sort of won, but did it happen? I don't know.
Did you want to win though?
That was you don't do anything to lose, right? You don't do anything to lose.
Yeah, but like when I was running, I was like, if I lose, I'm gonna be okay.
Well, the interesting thing about politics, and it's like there's two parts to it. One is running to win, and then doing the job. It's two different things, right? So you have to be good at both running to win. Yeah. And then doing the job, I didn't get to do the job. It didn't happen because the president canceled the election. So I ended up.
The president that you supported.
He canceled the election. Yeah.
But ain't that betrayal on you? I mean, it's like you invite me to dinner and then I get there, but the restaurant closed. Like you invited me to dinner.
Not exactly. No, I run. I see the problem. You said there's the thing called corruption. President Trump called it out. The party gets all upset because people don't. That was a special election. Yeah. So the voters don't get a say in a special election. It's up to the party bosses.
But then when the president cancels the election...
Well, the president canceled the election, not the president...
But then you feel betrayed?
No, because what happened is the guy... So I end up running. I win every poll. The party bosses are like losing their mind because I said, look, I basically boxed them in. I said, look, you guys have no choice but to pick me because the voters like me. If you pick anyone else, you're going to lose. And, I went up every poll. I won the first poll by 1 point. Then I won by 2. Then I won by 9. Then I actually hired the president's own pollster because they said Anthony's running fake polls. I said, okay, I'll get the president's pollster. hire him, cost a decent amount of money. I ended up winning that. They said it was up by 12. And the guy that threatened to kill me, ironically, just as I'm getting that poll, which we're about to present to the president, he endorses another rival of mine who hated the president. So the president gets the information. He said, look, the Republican Party, the Conservative Party, we have two parties, Conservative, Republican. Conservative Party has now endorsed a guy that hates you. And we also have this poll showing that Anthony Constantino is the top candidate. What do you want to do? They called Roger. They said, president's going to decide today or tomorrow what to do. He woke up and he said, I'm going to cancel the election because it was a mess. Because now you have a guy that hates him being endorsed, and you have me as the best candidate that didn't get the endorsement.
But then why did the president, as much as you took all these hits, put the vote for Trump sign up, did the sticker thing, all the email blasts, why he didn't give you just a position in his cabinet?
I wasn't looking for that. You know, I wasn't looking for that. I mean, that's a complicated thing to do. I mean, I'm running my company, and that's I wasn't looking for that. You know, I didn't ask for that. I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for a congressional seat, and so I wasn't looking for that. He got a tough situation. I remember Roger called me. He said the president's in between, the White House is in between telling them to withdraw their endorsement because the president doesn't like the guy and back you, or just canceling the election. I said, I think he's going to cancel the election because it's a mess, because the media ran with it. Now the media goes for a day. The candidate's going to be this guy. And I said, it's a mess. How are you going to convince the people that the media was wrong, that they withdrew, why did they withdraw the endorsement and all that? So he canceled it. And it made total sense to me. I said, look, does it really matter if we already had a person that's loyal to him in that congressional seat? So his world doesn't change if he cancels the election because he keeps his loyal person. So I said, look, he's
going through that experience. How much money did you spend on your campaign?
Decent. Not
millions.
Probably close. Around there.
Okay.
Because I self-funded. That was another thing. I thought they'd love that. I thought they'd go, wow.
They love me. I did that.
Right?
I paid for my own. Yeah.
I thought they'd love that. They hated it because I didn't realize they want to make money off the fundraising because there's all these grifters.
You mean the party?
Yes.
Well, of course. But that's why, I just ran, I mean, I'm a local. I did a local thing.
Correct. Well, I didn't, I had no option to just run because I had to get picked by the party. There was if I didn't get to appeal to the voters, it was a special election. Right. So, I mean, it went as good as it could have gone, or almost as good. The perfect would have been I get the seat, right? Yeah. But it went pretty well considering no experience in politics to pretty much beating the crap out of the establishment and totally embarrassing the establishment because they ended up coming down to me and another guy.
So you didn't get the seat. You got your life threatened. You still got your vote for Trump sign up. Are you still interested in politics?
Well, we're gonna, right now I'm probably the front runner for the thing. I'm probably the front runner for the thing in the event that the current congresswoman goes for governor, which she's talking about. And I've been in this world for a while. And I tell people all the time I'm in the world of evaluating competition. I competed as a boxer, competed as a business person. The bench just isn't that strong in New York City, in New York State right now. The bench just isn't that strong. I mean, we don't have a lot of talent there. And so
once it's vacant, you would run again.
Well, we're looking at trying to be as helpful as possible. So if that ends up going vacant, I'll be the front runner for that.
Got it. Okay.
But people are asking me to help out all over the place. They're asking me to help out. I mean, I got people calling me to asking me to help out in New York City. I don't know if you're familiar with the situation
of course I'm watching.
In New York City, but we got a problem there with talent as well. We got a problem there as well.
Well, I mean, look, one thing I do, clearly everybody that knows me knows I didn't like what was happening. I ran, I won, I got other people to win, and we are transforming the city. I mean, definitely our politics are different in terms of, we didn't get into all your politics and we won't, but California is very different than New York. But again, there's pros and cons in every state, right? But let me ask you, in terms of your business, so you had the successful sticker business, but now you're going to create another platform.
What do you mean, the political platform, or just other things in general? So I got the sticker business just keeps growing. That's on a great trajectory.
Platform, is that new or is that something?
So we're building a thing called Sticker Mill Stores. We got tons of people on stores. I'm talking to some major influencers. We got a show called Fish Tanks, our top store. So we built a stores platform, building a whole marketing platform. So the business just keeps moving forward. Mm-hmm. Once you're in tech, if you got a good engine, it's kind of hard to beat you.
Yeah, you can keep evolving.
You just keep going. I got a great team behind me.
So what are your other ambitions besides that?
Right now it's fixing New York State, making New York State great again. It's really
making New York State.
It's got to go great again. Look,
they ain't wearing that out there. If they are, it's going to be somewhere up.
I tell people, even you criticize the Republicans. I said, look, the Republicans go, he's a Republican and he's criticizing us. I said, well, there's a lot to criticize. I mean, you have a state that's failing. I mean, California is not doing great things either, let's be honest. So when you say the word make New York great again, it's nobody's going to say make Florida great again. Florida's doing pretty well.
Well, let's be clear. The whole country is struggling no matter where you look. One could argue it's because of Daddy Trump, but others can just say it's just a shit whole country. Everybody who looks at the country through whatever lens is going to have an opinion until you roll up your sleeves, as you know, and get into the work. You know, like you can politic any issue. We can look outside right now and say beautiful day in LA, but then you could also see that the ozone layer, you could see the dirt, you could see pollution. You know, I think politics, it goes back to either purpose, passion, or the politics of getting richer. I mean, you know,
a lot of them are in there just getting richer. I can tell you that much. A lot of them are in there just getting richer because there's a lot of money. People I didn't even realize when I got into Congress. I said, look.
Do you think Elon got in it because he wanted to somehow spend money to make America great again?
I don't like to guess what other people are thinking, you know, just because that's not a thing you can really do. I don't know him. I never met him.
He sold Teslas at the White House. We never saw that. Again,
yeah, but you know, that was because he was getting beat up so badly. They wanted to do something nice for him. I mean, I don't think that little stunt at the White House really helped him that much. Sell that many Teslas. I think, you know, his support of the president, he probably lost a lot more because I know what it was like. I lost quite a bit supporting the president.
Right.
You know,
well, Doge could have been spelled Dodge because he dodged out of town. Anyway,
with the eye.
Yeah. Okay, so what's next? I mean, once because now that you've had a lot of success in business, you're finding your passion in politics, and you know you're figuring your way out there. What does one have in terms of ambition after all that?
Well, I'm making a lot of connections through this whole, I met a lot of people, a lot of nice people, right? And I think the one thing that's most interesting about my experience is like people that got involved politically or just in doing interesting things in life for the right reasons, they sort of become friends with each other pretty quickly. And so, I made a lot of connections. People know I'm in politics, whether you are on the Republican side or the Democrat side. I think people know I'm doing things for what I think is the right reason. We can debate whether I'm right or wrong. And so, I made a lot of connections. I've been helping, a number of people with their careers, helped a guy named Ricky Berwick I don't know if he's a massive Canadian influencer. He just got on a show called Fish Tank. He's one of the funniest people in Canada. But, he's a disabled comedian. So he's a disabled comedian out of Canada. I was a fan of his and been helping him. I got another friend of mine I'm working with on his music career, just had a hit song with Jadakiss. And, I like doing interesting things in life. I don't like to get bored. And so politics is one interesting thing, but I like to do whatever is most impactful. My business is in a great trajectory. The thought with Sticker Mule right now is storage platform, help people make money. We're doing that pretty effectively as well. I think we're about to reach 200,000 paid out to our store sellers in 6 months. And help people make money through Sticker Mule, help interesting people that I think are well-intentioned succeed in life and make New York great again.
Well, do you print Democratic stickers?
If they want to stay,
would you do vote for?
I think I printed.
Would you do vote for Kamala stickers if she ran for California?
I printed a lot more Democrat stickers before I said what I said about the president. Some of them
of course,
feel a different way now,
you're
right?
A Democrat. You're a Democrat.
I was a Democrat, right? So I printed a lot more. You know who I really lost is the furry community. They love me. There's this thing called the furry world.
Yeah, I don't know that about that.
And they loved me, and now they hate me.
Wait, are you still registered Democrat or registered?
No, I had to register Republican. So the Republicans got mad at me to run. They got mad at me. They said, this guy,
but that's why
he's not even one of us.
That's why they're going to try to kill you, because that's like, who is that like? Well, I don't want to say that because then I'd be outing somebody. Anyway, just be whoever you want to be. If you want to be gay, be gay. If you want to be straight, be straight. If you want to be a conservative Democrat, just be whatever you want to be. But I agree with that. I do respect people who just stand on what they believe in. I mean, look, you can look at Trump, love him, hate him. The man told you who he was. He showed you who he was. He got elected. And he did exactly what he told you he was going to do. That's why I don't wake up every day mad, like online, Trump, because we know what I saw it coming. You saw it coming. Now, when people see you, you're telling them what you stand for. You tell them what you believe in, and people have the choice to choose.
Exactly. They got to pick.
Yeah.
People say, you can't act that way. You can't do this. I insulted my own party a lot, criticized my own party. I say things you're not supposed to say. But I say, look, it's up to the voters ultimately. Mm-hmm. And I think the world's changing. Like I said, whether you want to believe it or not, I think President Trump inspired AOC. I think she saw what he did, and she said, maybe I'm going to do it too. She probably would never admit that. But, I think he inspired a lot of people to say, I'm going to do it my way. If the voters like it, they like it. If they don't, then, you live with the consequences. But I can, thus far, the voters like the way
Listen,
I
Anthony think he's slick, came in here with a red Amiri hat on. Okay, we see you. It's red, but it's Amiri. That's the way they trick y'all. But anyway, Anthony Constantino, congratulations on your success.
Thank you, Jason.
All right.
Likewise.
Later. Yeah, so that was interesting. Anthony, you clearly believe what you believe. I feel like I stood on what I believe in, and those of you in upstate New York, you got to get out in that snow and go fight for what you believe. If you think Anthony is your guy and you want to make America great again, or if you're just tired of it, you're like, hell nah. Anyway, the choice is yours. That's what democracy is about. Peace.
The Jason Lee Podcast.